Hey, ladies, happy birthday to me. Yes, I celebrated my birthday last month. I've been gone for a couple of months now, but I'm back. We're going to start the 30-second countdown, and then we're going to come back and talk about this economy. We're going to talk about 300,000 to 350,000 Black women losing their jobs, getting out of the economy, the labor economy right now. So they say we're going to put that in quotes. We're going to talk about this economy here, people skipping McDonald's breakfast, what's happening with that, surviving the economy. And I'm also going to talk about Shannon Sharpe because I had something specific to say about this that I didn't hear other people talking about, and I wanted to bring this up. So I'm going to put on a 30-second countdown here, and then we're going to come back and we are going to get started. Here we go. Hello to everybody. I hope you are doing well. While I was gone, StreamYard, which I have been, doing this podcast on, they've gone crazy, I think, because now they want $45 a month for a subscription. And I don't know about you, but I think StreamYard is crazy, even though they have a couple of features that I had before, and I might just have to pull my wallet out and start paying for it again. But I'm so glad to see you, ladies. What have you been doing? What have y'all been doing this summer? I had a good summer. The reason I was gone was because business turned up, and it turned up so much. And even tonight, I was like, oh my goodness, I was so tired, but I'm like, I'm going to make it on. I moved our time up a little bit. But business is better. Y'all know I'm a mortgage lender. Mortgage lending is better for me. I got a promotion at the beginning of the year. It was really tough for a little bit there, but things have been moving on the upward trajectory. Praise God. Thank you, Jesus. I also had 50th birthday. So I'm grateful for that as well. And I decided to put my age out there, let y'all know girls getting old. So thank you, Torian Dream, saying happy birthday. Adrian is in the building as well. What else have I been doing this summer? So yeah, just kind of hanging out, working, got some fall vacation plans. I haven't had a real vacation in many years, probably about 4 or 5 years now. Super excited to be doing that. And I'll tell you like what my vacation was when I come back. And like, I'll probably tell y'all a couple of weeks after I come back, because, I'm not trying to have anybody show up at my house while I'm gone, right? So you have to be careful what you're saying on social media. So, but yeah, what else is happening? Yeah, just paying attention to the economy. This economy is cray cray right now. We're going to talk about it. And we're going to get down to business around here. Ladies, as you all are coming in, tell me what you did this summer. What have you been doing this summer? And do you have plans for the fall? Do you have level up plans for the fall? I did not take the notary class last year. Big mistake. But in the next couple of days, I'm going to spend the $200 and sign up for the notary class, take the notary class. I really want to see if I can get into doing those virtual notary, one of those virtual notary jobs. I don't know. The job market right now, you hear a lot of people saying how bad it is right now. And I really do believe it's bad. I believe you have some really good people who were laid off over the past few months. And there are very few jobs that are actually like real jobs that people actually have out there that they are marketing and, and people are applying for and able to apply for. And yeah, I mean, if you're an employer right now, you've got your pick of the litter. But if you are trying to get a job right now, I do believe it's a bit tough. But anyway, going back to what I was talking about. So your girl's going to take the $200 and sign up and get her notary. And then the other big thing I'm working on is just preparing for 2026. Preparing for 2026. So let's see. AP, thank you so much. Thank you, Adrian, for saying happy belated birthday. Baby girl T is in the building. Thank you. Thank you. Baby girl T said, got a return offer for my internship building credit default model with machine learning and AI networking and working on my health. Congratulations. I love it, girl. Sabrina, thank you so much. Danielle is saying, do you have a link for the notary class? So the notary class that I'm taking is at my local community college. So, what you want to do is you want to go check out your local community college and see if you can take a notary class there. So, that's going to be my notary class. Like, I'm going to what they do is you go in from like 9 to 2 on a Saturday, and whatever classes you have to take to be certified in the state of Maryland, that's the class that you take. And then I guess they do some fingerprints and maybe you have to pay some other fees, et cetera. And then you can become a notary. So yeah, I'm going to my community college for $200. Yep. Need another stream of income. Earlier this year, I was like, damn, I should have taken that notary class when I had a chance. So yeah, I'm not going to mess that up again. AP is saying, only work this summer, taking an AI course on my job is my fall plan. Good. Make sure your job pays for it. I just had to take, or I have to take continuing education between now and November 1st is when my continuing education is due. And yes, I did pull out that corporate credit card. And yes, I did charge my job for my continuing education. Yes, I did. Thank you, Jesus. And thank you to my employer for the ability to do that. But yes, ladies, right now is the time for you to skill up. Skills and networks. I'm a broken record. I haven't changed my tune since I've been gone. It's the same thing. Skills plus networks equals money. Skills and networks, right? Purple Rain, thank you so much. Adrian, I've been working, and I'll be looking for a new job, so I only have to work one. Well, good for you. Skills and networks, Adrian. I'm telling you right now, number one issue I hear when I hear people talk about how hard it is for them to find a job. And I'm not saying the skills and networks will get you 100% there. I'm not that naive. But when I'm hearing people, they're like, I've sent out 500 applications. I'm like, okay, but do you have a network of people within your industry who know you, who like you? Have you been doing that kind of reach out? And I'm going to tell you now, even if you have a safe, secure job, ladies, quote unquote, safe, secure job, you need to be focused on your skills and networks as well. It is no joke. No joke. AP, congrats on your baby girl T, congrats on your offer. Thank you, AP, for saying that to her. Oh, I got a $9.99. Oops, how do I show this on the screen here? Come down here. Thank you, Torian Dreams, for my birthday gift. Thank you so much. You have treated me to a Panera sandwich. Thank you. Danielle is saying, okay, yes, Danielle, definitely go check out your community college, girl. Yes, fitness, I am back. Your girl is here. I got something to say. So I'm going to talk about the 300,000 Black women, 300,000 to 350,000. Nobody knows the exact number, but Black women who have, quote unquote, left the labor force. I'm going to talk about McDonald's and the fact that people are skipping breakfast. And I'm going to talk about Shannon Sharpe. I do have something to say about Shannon Sharpe that I didn't hear other people say. And we're going to talk about how it affects us, how his story affects us as upwardly mobile Black women. So, all my UMBWs, put UMBW in the chat. For all of my new people that have found us this evening, UMBW means upwardly mobile Black woman. So when you hear UMBW, you know what that means. That is us. But thank you, fitness. Tori and Dream saying, great idea. I may do the notary class after the tax season. Yeah, girl. Yeah, look, I just want one more stream of income just in case things get a little funky with my loans and my lending business. I want to have something else to fall back on. And I think all of us need that. So Baby Girl T says, goals for fall, lose 15 pounds, taking courses on LinkedIn Learning, Udemy, and Coursera. I love it. I love it. Dark and lovely. Thank you so much. Jace is saying, hey girl, miss you. Well, I missed y'all too. Honestly, I thought about my UMBWs practically every day, but there are just certain times in your life where you just can't do it all, and I had to let something go. So, this was it, but I really did think about you every day. There were things that were happening where I'm like, I wish I, could do a live really quickly and come on and say XYZ, but we're going to catch up. We're going to catch up because we're going to talk about things that's happening now, as well as things that have happened over the summer, because your girl has some things to say from our point of view. Sailor Academy offers free college courses and you can get certifications. Well, that's a good thing to know. I hadn't heard of them, but yeah, just also make sure they're accredited as well. If you're really trying to get those certifications in order to get like certain tech jobs and things like that. Tam over at Women in Linux has been given so much information this summer with regards to how you can get a $200,000 to $300,000 job. So ladies, if you want to get in tech, either you're going to do tech sales, or my suggestion is follow Women in Linux and Tam over at Women in Linux. I know that there are a couple of other people that Erica has brought on that's doing some big things in tech with regards to helping you get into tech. But whatever certifications you have, the certifications are great, but you need practical skills and you need networks. Practical skills and networks. Can I take the information I'm learning from a certification and put it into practice someplace and then be able to let my network know, hey, I actually know what I'm doing? And I'm going to say something that's ageist, but especially if you are Gen Z or a lower age millennial, especially if you are Gen Z or a lower age millennial, there are a lot of reports right now of employers being dissatisfied with the Gen Z employees and the lower, younger, I should say, millennial employees right now. That is a great time for you to shine. Great time for you to shine. But it's not just the certifications. You have to be able to apply the information to that business environment. And you need the networks as well in order to win. So I see my friend Mentor Shelly is in the building. Mentor Shelly actually called me. She was like, girl, are you okay? So I appreciate you for calling me. We had a great conversation offline, but thank you so much for saying happy birthday to me as well. Really appreciate you. John is saying, here we go. Well, John, are you blaming white people for rising Black unemployment? So I don't know who you are, John. I don't know who's my mods in here, but if John is going to have this conversation with us, then he can be permanently booted from this channel. We don't I don't know who this is or why you would come over here with that specific comment, because that's not our vibe over here. Dark and lovely, my UMBWs. Yes, my upwardly mobile Black ladies. Adrian, aside from career hunting, I've decided to pivot to data governance. So I'm curating a study plan and looking into professional groups to join. I love it, Adrian. AP is saying I feel overworked because I have to do the intern and associate's job. They really lack critical thinking skills. So this is what I was going to, this is what I was talking about there. And some of it is just being young and inexperienced. I remember when I was 20, 21, 22, 23, I was so green that, it took me about a year to really figure out how to apply certain things in the work environment. I don't know if employers have as much patience these days, because there are fewer entry level jobs that you can get into and really be trained on an entry level basis. So, you know. And Baby Girl T says many sailor courses are recommended for college credit by the ACE. Okay, a process that can allow students to transfer that credit to a degree program at a participating college or university. All right, well, great. That is a good thing to know. All right, ladies, let's talk about the first story we have up here. From MSNBC here, but there were a lot of places that talked about this. 300,000 Black women have left the labor force in 3 months. It's not a coincidence. For decades, the public sector has been a lifeline for Black women shut out of economic opportunity. It's no surprise that Trump's federal downsizing targeted them first, explains gender economist Katika Roy. Put a 1 in the chat if you have been following me since before Trump's election. So put a 1 in the chat if you found me before October 2024. Put a 1 in the chat if you found me before October 2024. Because ladies, Ray Charles and Stevie Wonder could have seen this coming. I see my ones coming through here. Thank you, ladies. Ray Charles and Stevie Wonder could have seen this coming, because we have had numerous conversations. In fact, I think I started talking about this even 2 or 3 years ago. I believe when I started Black Women Making Money, I started getting serious about talking to you ladies. I have been talking for the longest time about the fact that the United States government is broke, and that having a public sector job, you're going to have to pivot. I know I've been saying it, right? And I see so many ones here. Yes. And hey, Denise, good to see you, girl. Yes. So you know me, I'm not a blame Trump for everything person, right? This was partially Doge, right? This was partially Elon Musk, who wanted to come in and do federal downsizing. But even without Elon Musk and Trump, no matter who it is, at some point, the United States government was going to have to lay off people. We've been talking about this and talking about this and talking about this, right? And just because you work for a state or a city, I've been saying this as well, that does not mean your jobs are safe. So we also know that the labor numbers have been funny, and they've been funny for a while. In fact, I remember talking to Diamond Dave. I think we were just going back and forth in his comment section about this, but I've always said that I felt like the labor numbers and the labor stats were not reported correctly. I've always felt like that. The other thing I'm going to say is I believe the supermajority let's say 70%, of these 300,000 Black women are UMBWs as well. I do. I think that they're UMBWs as well. So the best time to have started building your network was 5 years ago, 3 years ago, when I started saying, build your network, build your network, build your network. There's a guy, an admiral, not just a guy, an admiral that I know personally. And I used to network with a group of military, um, veteran military officers, right? They were military officers, but they had since retired and they had started their business, and most of them were federal contractors. And that admiral used to always say, don't just depend on government work, go get some private work as well. I'm here to tell you that we saw that coming. We saw this train coming. We saw this trend coming, right? It is important for us to be able to have our skills and our networks both in the public sector and in the private sector. I'm also going to say something else to you if you work in the public sector. There are a lot of people in the private sector who believe that people who have been government employees for 20 years, the culture within government, within working with government, is so different that you will face prejudice, not because you're Black and not because you're a woman, but because you were a 20-year veteran of the public sector. And or it could be because you were a 20 years a veteran of the public sector and you're Black and you're a woman. Yes, I'm not the person who thinks that racism doesn't exist, right? But I do think that there are going to be people out there who will look at somebody's resume and say, you worked for whatever government agency for the past 20 years. I don't think that you're going to be a good fit for our private company unless you what? You know them. Unless somebody in that company will vouch for you. Okay? So this is why I'm always harping on skills and networks. So let's read this MSNBC article here. Let's see how far we get down here. In just 3 months, nearly 300,000 Black women left the United States labor force. Their labor force participation rate has now dropped below that of Latinas for the first time in over a year. And more than 518,000 Black women still haven't returned to the labor force since the pandemic began, leaving their real unemployment rate just above 10%. A lot of Black women, ladies, a lot of Black women are unemployed. Now, some of those Black women have turned that into a business. But in the words of Tabitha Brown, entrepreneurship ain't for everybody, right? Being an entrepreneur is hard. For most people, it takes 3 years for you to actually build your business up to a point where you have enough money where you're able to pay your bills and live off of it. This is true. So the best time for you to have started that side hustle, as I was telling you, as Erica's been telling you, as other people have been telling you, was 3-4 years ago, right? The second best time for you to start this side hustle is today. No matter how secure you are or you think you are in your current job. Because AI is coming, we've been talking about it forever. Robots are coming. We've been talking about it forever. At some point, we're going to talk about the robots that can get pregnant. Not tonight, but boy, that'll be a good one for us to go through. But yeah, there's a lot happening. And more people, there are going to be new jobs that come about because of AI and robotics. There will be new jobs. There will be old jobs that are phased out. If you don't keep up with your skills and you don't keep up with your network, so you're going to be left behind. And we are starting to see the United States turn more and more into the haves and the have-nots. And we've been saying that for 3 years since we've been here as well. I'm going to read a little bit more of this and then I'm going to read some of your comments. This isn't a coincidence. It's the best. Oh, sorry. This isn't a coincidence. It's the result of federal policy choices, most immediately sweeping job cuts across public sector agencies where Black women have long held the strongest foothold in middle class employment. Agencies like the Department of Education and the Department of Health and Human Services have seen dramatic reductions in staff, up to 50% in some cases. These are not just institutional losses. They represent the disappearance of stable, often well-paying jobs that historically provided economic security to Black women and the families that they support. And let's be real, ladies, let's be real. There are a lot of Black women who were heads of household. And I didn't necessarily say that the Black women were single per se, right? But there are a lot of Black women, not all, I won't even say most, but a lot of Black women who were the breadwinners in their homes, and their job is gone. There are a lot of Black women who were in these middle class jobs who was not only taking care of themselves, but elderly parents or younger siblings as they were going through college. There are a lot of these Black women who were and are homeowners. How many homes do you think are going to be foreclosed on if these women did not have savings, or if their savings run out before they find their next job? So I do think that things are going to get worse for Black women. I do. If you have your job and you have a stable job and, things are pretty stable right now, great. But if you're looking for something, now you've got a lot more competition. Got a lot more competition. So I think that's all we're going to talk about with this article here. Kind of know this. Let's go through some of your comments here. Dark and Lovely is saying, definitely check local community colleges. I found out that my state, South Carolina, has zero-cost programs for critical need trade jobs. I saw it on my local community college website. I absolutely agree with this, ladies. Absolutely agree with this. And look, there are some of my ladies out there, some of my UMBWs, you can get into these trade jobs if you choose to. And not all trade jobs are dirty jobs, quote unquote, right? But I do see a lot of opportunity still with regards to, once you have found your next career path, there are resources that are still out there that can assist you to at least getting the education. And then once you get the education, you got to get the networks as well, right? But you can absolutely do it. I'm a young millennial and I've noticed a marked change in the economy and morale. It's harder for young people to have hope for their future when everything they need is outrageously expensive. I would agree with that. I would agree with that as well. Yeah. The question is, how much of the lack of hope do you actually wear on your sleeve? How much you actually show it outside? And sometimes you show it inadvertently as well. And I'm not saying you're wrong, fitness. I'm not saying that at all. I did watch, I don't know, put a 2 in the chat if you all watched the Patrick Bet-David anti-capitalist Jubilee debate, quote unquote debate. It wasn't really a debate. I had to turn it off halfway through because PBD works on my nerves. But I was listening to actually some reactions to the anti-capitalist debate, and one of the people said that the issue is that a lot of young people don't have hope. And I'm going to tell you this is somebody who is older and who talks to people who are older than me who are hiring managers. And that is if they sense that a young person doesn't have hope, they're less likely to hire you as well. Or they're less likely to mentor you if you're already in that job and in that position. I'm not saying you're wrong to um, to feel like lower morale right now. I'm not saying that at all. I am saying it doesn't translate to some of my 55, 60, 65-year-olds who are in hiring positions. It doesn't translate. So, yeah, it'll be something for us to talk about. I kind of need to think about that a little bit more and think about how I would suggest you navigate that. But I think it is an important conversation for us to have at some point. Adrienne, are overrepresented in government positions on the local, state, and federal side. I was not surprised at 300K. Yeah, and it could be more. Fitness saying, I at least had hope at their age, and the American dream still seemed like a likely possibility. I think that the American dream is still possible, and I think it's a likely possibility if you have the right skills and the right networks. I think the game has changed over the past 20 years. Not only think, I know the game has changed over the past 20 years, and I know that the game is going to change even more rapidly as AI and robotics become seriously introduced into the labor force. I do know this for a fact, is that the people who are going to win are the people who know how to learn new skills, who know how to learn them rapidly, and the people who have the best networks and the best relationships. Now, I'm not talking about somebody with a silver spoon in their mouth, right? Who will always have a job because mommy and daddy knows this person and that person, etc. I'm talking about regular schmegular UMBWs like us. I can 100% say that your ability to have the best chance of living the American dream is going to be based on your ability to figure out what the highest paying skills are based on what your talents are, what your God given talents are, and your ability to pick up those skills. And then also the strength and number of relationships you have or you're able to get in a specific industry. Definitely know that. Samry is here. Thank you so much for the birthday wishes. All right, AP, did you hear about Sherwin-Williams removing their 6% 401k match to week sales? I did not, but I'm not surprised. Not surprised at all. Yeah, a lot of companies are making some massive cuts. Yeah. Um, I've worked in the feds for 15 years and I only know one person who truly lost their job. Very interesting. So it will probably also depend on what department you worked in and like how critical it is and things like that. So it is so important for us to network and communicate your progressive mindset along with your value when looking for better opportunities. That's true. Yes, Mentor Shelley, pregnant robots. Yes, yeah. I'm telling you to go on YouTube or go on Google and look it up. We're going to talk about it because I will tell you the one, for me, messy topic, because I'm not really in it anymore. Messy topic that I love, like I will look at all sorts of videos about it, is the declining birth rate. I the reason why I'm fascinated about it is because, well, number one is I'm no longer fertile, right? So um, I have a certain amount of privilege when it comes to that. The second is that I'm fascinated about it because I'm looking to see what women are going to do collectively, and then what the government and the patriarchy is going to do to respond to it. And at one point, we thought, oh, it's just a handmaid's tale that's coming. But when I saw the pregnant robots, I'm like, well, looks like some people are making some plans. So, hey, Christina, thank you so much for the birthday wishes. Um, Jace is saying specific federal sectors were hit hard, especially USAID. Yeah, the Department of Education and USAID and a couple of other pet projects, they slashed. Yes, please like the video, everybody. I should have been saying that. Please like the video. Yes. I'm definitely looking into data analytics and cybersecurity. I'm struggling though, need more transferable skills. That's where you need to maybe talk to a mentor, Shelly, or somebody else who can kind of help guide you through that. One of the best investments I made was hiring a career coach when I decided I wanted to switch my careers. So, Denise, thank you so much. What? Denise notarized her first document last week. Yay, Denise. So proud of you, girl. Yes, I'm going to get my little side hustle together. I'm just looking for something like I can make an additional $200 a month, and that I know that if I need some extra money, like, okay, I know how to how to get more money through the door through being a notary. So yeah. Mentor Shelley saying, yes, please share the video with someone who enjoys this type of enlightening conversation. Denise, you just took a loan class last Saturday. Are you trying to become a lender? You're in tech from what I remember. So, or are you just trying to buy a home? Yes, congrats, Denise. AP is saying, I also think a lot of young people don't have hope because they are stuck on social media watching fake lifestyles. This is true. Very, very true. I agree that they shouldn't show it, but the shift from working toward a future family to working just to survive from one day to the next is demoralizing. I feel bad for most of. I feel bad for them most of all. Yes, I agree with that. I absolutely agree with that. NC workers in the building. I don't need hope. I need money. Yes, girl. Yes. Or NC worker. I think you're a guy. Sorry. But yes, we need money, right? We need to be strategic. We absolutely do. Um, Baby girl T is saying to Denise, start learning stats, probability, algebra, linear algebra, calculus, and discrete math. Learn Python and do coding project on these math topics. That will put you in good standing. That's a curriculum right there. But I love it. Main Ben Fatal. Thank you so much. Thank you. Um, I watched the plummeting birth rate topics too. You're not the only one. Yes, I am like every time I hear birth rate is going down. Why? Like I'll click on it in order to hear what these various gurus are saying, if they're going to say anything else that's different. And I have my disagreements with what I think the solution is. Most people say that the solution is money, economics, money, economics. I think that that is not. I think that if you gave women a whole bunch of money and more financial security, they still wouldn't have children. At some point, at some point, we'll have the conversation. I'll let you all know what my spidey senses are telling me about this. I think it's deeper than that. But yeah, look, I find the topic very interesting. Very, very interesting. All I can say, ladies, those of you who are fertile, guard your wombs at all costs. So men can get millions to dribble balls, so it can be done. That's the truth. Denise is saying, I saw the story of the robots last week. I thought that's crazy. I know that there are countries trying to figure out how to put a womb in a man, which is just as scary. Well, now they don't even have to put the womb in the man. They can just throw it in a robot. So, yeah. And I believe they're pretty far along. And I believe they're farther along than they are letting the public know. I think that if the public knew how far along they were, you'd be scared. So thank you to everybody saying happy birthday to me. Shar is in the building. Thank you so much. All right, let's talk about the next thing. Let's talk about McDonald's. Y'all, people aren't eating breakfast because they broke. Let's see what the McDonald's CEO has to say. Make sure this is on regular speed.
It's not a McDonald's. It's thought of as a casual dining or something. So if it's only $1 difference, you might go to Chili's. So you recognize that and move quickly, right?
Yeah, and part of what we also saw was that, particularly with middle and lower income consumers, they're feeling under a lot of pressure right now. I think there's a lot of commentary about what's the state of the economy, how's it doing, and what we see is it's really kind of a two-tier economy. If you're upper income, earning over $100,000, things are good. Stock markets are near all-time highs. You're feeling quite confident about things. You're seeing international travel. All those barometers of upper income consumers are doing quite well. What we see with middle and lower income consumers is actually a different story. It's that consumers under a lot of pressure. In our industry, traffic for lower income consumers is down double digits. And it's because people are either choosing to skip a meal. So we're seeing breakfast. People are actually skipping breakfast, or they're choosing to just eat at home. And so for our business, which has a significant group of consumers which are in that middle and lower income, we needed to step in with something like what we're doing here.
Do you find yourself, tiering different products though? Meaning saying to yourself, okay, there's going to be a lower income consumer, and we're going to have this product for them. But then we have a luxury consumer that's walking in, and we're going to charge them, a premium price for some kind of premium product.
Yeah, we call it value ladders. So there would be something that would be an entry price point for someone who's looking for something that maybe they only have a few dollars in their pocket. So what can I buy for a few dollars in my pocket? And then we try to offer more premium items as well for somebody who's maybe able to spend more money.
But because it's a two-tier economy, do you not get the benefit of wealthier people trading down that you might in a generalized economy or economic downturn?
We don't see as much, again, because that wealthier consumer right now isn't feeling under a lot of pressure. It's just, this isn't like what we saw in the Great Recession, where that consumer, everybody was trading down. Right now, again, if you're upper income, you're feeling pretty good about things. And so we're not seeing as pronounced a trade down effect this time around.
Okay, I wanted to show you that. That was the McDonald's CEO, Okay. First thing he said was, if you're doing over 100,000, you're doing good. I think he knows that 100,000 is an arbitrary number. I also know that there are some people, 100,000 plus households, that are suffering right now. So 100,000 is not the magic number. It depends on where you live. You know this, and I know this as well. But you do have two groups of people right now. And this is going to be now for the next 50 to 100 years. You have the financially stable and the financially unstable. I think those are the two groups. That's your K-shaped economy. The other thing is you always hear the poverty rate. The poverty rates are going down when they have this quote unquote government data. That's why I said the government data, you gotta watch it, right? But there are people right now who are quote unquote not poor, quote unquote, right? And yet they are financially unstable. Our goal on this channel is to figure out how we can go from financial instability to financial stability. And then the second thing is, because I have so many younger women on my channel, if you are looking for a husband, a boyfriend, I'm going to talk more about husband than boyfriend, because you can hopefully just let the boyfriends go if, whatever. But to be equally yoked with a man who is also financially stable. There are a lot of financially unstable men looking for UMBWs. There are financially unstable family members looking for you as a secure UMBW. But the McDonald's CEO, he said 100,000. I think he did that just for TV. I'm here to tell you right now, it's not $100,000. If you make more, you're good. If you make less, you're not so good. It really is financial stability. It really is. I have a borrower client. She's looking for a house right now. Her mortgage is $900. She's had this mortgage forever. To the point where I was like, are you sure you want to move? I didn't ask her that. And that like that, because we have certain guidelines. We're not supposed to say certain things, right? But I'm like, you have a $900 mortgage in this economy. Are you sure you want to move? Right? But she has, over the past few years, she has gotten a new job, and her income has basically more than doubled. And she is, she's not a CNA, but she's some sort of a nursing assistant. So she has stable income. She works with elderly people. She will always have a job as long as she's, doing the right thing, right? She'll always have a job. So our question is, again, how do we set ourselves up to be financially stable in this economy? The other thing that the McDonald's CEO said, which I think he got a little right and a little wrong, but obviously he knows his business more than I do. He said that either people were skipping meals or they were eating at home. I personally think there are more people who are eating clean or cleaner, or if they're going to go to fast food, we're not going to McDonald's. I can't tell you, when was the last time you all were in a McDonald's? And this is no judgment. If you say today or yesterday, no judgment from me. Literally the last time I ate at a McDonald's had to have been 8-9 years ago. I don't go to McDonald's. If I want fast food, I used to love Panera. Panera's gone down too. There are a couple of other places you can go and, Kava, I think is the name of it. I haven't been there in a while. I've been eating a lot more at home. Plus I work from home, right? But partially it is because people are, they're skipping meals maybe, or they're fixing their food at home. The economy is tight. I might have a job, but I don't know if my partner or the person I'm living with is going to get laid off any day. So we're trying to save, And then the other part, for that $100,000 plus person, they ain't going to McDonald's, no way. Unless they're like hardcore, we like McDonald's people. So let me see what you all are saying in here. You're saying, Fitness, I'm glad people aren't overpaying to eat that garbage. Well, at one point in some place in Connecticut, they had like $18 Big Macs. And McDonald's had to change its pricing because they were overcharging people. Absolutely. Why would I go to McDonald's and spend $18 on a Big Mac? I might as well go. I don't eat Chipotle personally, but I might as well go to Chipotle or someplace like that if I'm gonna spend $18, you know? So yeah, they need to bring back, maybe it's not the dollar menu, it's gonna be the $2 menu or something like that, and we'll see what happens, right? The other thing that McDonald's has is a lot of real estate. And with that comes a lot of hard costs because they have to pay for their real estate. And some of that McDonald's real estate is in premium prime locations. So let's see here. AP is saying 100,000 for your post-tax LOL. He means pre-tax. He does mean pre-tax. Yep. Tori Andrew is saying, I'm not leaving my $900 house. Let me tell you something. I mean, I'm grateful that I bought in 2018, but oof, if I had a $900 house, y'all would have to bury me in that house. $900 a month. Y'all have to bury me there. Like, no, I ain't going nowhere. The only way, I will say this though, the only way I would go somewhere is if the crime got really bad. But if the neighborhood is cool, shoot, I ain't going nowhere. So Torin is saying, I'm still not moving. I don't care how much I make. Yep. Okay, y'all are saying McDonald's been about 4 months for Christina. Damn, I'm in McDonald's 2 to 3 times a week. I know it's bad. Oh, I haven't been there in years. You probably would have to take me to the emergency room if I ate it. I agree. My stomach couldn't handle it anymore. Last time I went to McDonald's, I had to spit out the McNuggets. They taste like cardboard. Oof. Yes, you would. I feel sick when I eat it, but keep going back. I have no willpower. I understand that. My lack of willpower is around sweets. So I definitely get that people have their vices. Christina's saying the only thing edible to me is the breakfast and I can make it at home. Yep, it's true. Notary is saying, not trying to be political, but Republicans always cause recessions. This has been the truth for the last 100 years. I don't know about the data with that, but I would believe you. I will believe you. I will say this as well. I don't trust either side. I don't trust either side. There are, and this is just Cherie's opinion, and I know political people kind of get weird with politics. There are some positive things that Donald Trump has done. There are some things I don't like that he's done. There are some positive things about the Democrats. There are some things I don't like about the Democrats. I was a single issue voter, and that was about illegal immigration. And thus far, everything that I see thus far, well, I won't say everything, but 90% of what I see, I'm like, well, this is what I voted for. So I have to take the bad along with the good. But the other thing I will say about this is, if you know that Republicans cause recessions, and we see the polling and we see the move of the country and we see that Donald Trump is going to get into office, then I just say prepare for the recession. This is where we have to, as UNBWs, we have to be in a position with the right skills and the right networks to make money, whether or not the economy is good or bad. And that's what this channel is about as well, is whether the economy is good or bad, how can I make money? And also, if I see something coming 3 years out, 5 years out, and I'm telling you this, and Erica Williams is telling you this, and Diamond Dave is telling you this, and Mentor Shelley is telling you this, then we have to be able to move quickly, pivot quickly, or you're going to get left behind. So, but yeah. And look, I don't shy away from politics on this channel because I do believe that there's a correlation between politics and wealth. And I didn't say Republicans and Democrats and wealth. I said politics and wealth. The laws that are made on the federal, state, and local level can affect how much money you have in your pocket. Absolutely true. AP is saying I get McDonald's because they are fast and pretty reliable with their orders, but mainly because they are fast. Well, they're fast and pretty reliable with their orders, girl. You didn't say they were good. Hello, and thank you so much. You just joined. I hope that you are a subscriber. High Anxiety. Hope you're a subscriber. Thank you so much for the birthday wishes. Oh, we're going back to the $900 house payment. I would do anything for such a low house payment. I know. So, Torrin saying I'm buying a pistol. I'm not leaving my house. No. So I want to be able to walk out of my house, know my car is there, be able to do certain things in my neighborhood. So, Denise is saying, I remember back in the day, a Wendy's burger and McDonald's fries did it for me. Girl, yes, I used to have the Wendy's burgers all the time. The Wendy's fries were not as good, but I used to like the McDonald's fries, or every once in a while I would travel next to a Checkers. Y'all had the Checkers fries? Yes. I would stop. So Checkers was like in a different area for me, and I would travel out there maybe like once a month. And girl, every time I passed by Checkers, your girl had some Checkers fries. Yes. So Notary saying, exactly, Cherie, I am taking courses on AI. Good for you. Canva AI code is a game changer. I need to create something ASAP. Yeah, I even, Cherie, need to, I've been listening to a lot of gurus in the lending space talking about AI, and I haven't really jumped on it yet like I need to. I have a ChatGPT Pro account, even though I have some thoughts about ChatGPT, so we'll talk about that at some point as well. But yeah, like we need to be on top of things. All right, let's get into some final mess here. I'm going to show you this thing about Shannon Sharpe. Let's talk about Shannon Sharpe. And actually, this is a just overview of what happened with the Shannon Sharpe thing. So shout out to this creator here who's going to give us the lowdown. Let's see here.
So it looks like the $50 million lawsuit filed against Shannon Sharpe by an ex-girlfriend that he met when she was only 19 years old has been dismissed with prejudice. Was there a settlement? Hey, I'm Kempire, your king of pop culture. If you enjoy hot topics and more, be sure to like and follow. You may have forgotten about this $50 million lawsuit brought by Jane Doe against Shannon Sharpe, accusing him of damning accusations, including rape. There was even audio that was released that seemed heavily edited. And according to Shannon Sharpe, on multiple posts, he released different transcripts of conversations that this woman sent to him over time. And in one of those public statements that Shannon released via his attorney, he said that they were going to fight this in court. Only for today it being released by Tony Busby that they've decided to dismiss this lawsuit with prejudice, meaning Jane Doe cannot file this lawsuit again. Tony Busby took to social media to release a statement on this $50 million lawsuit. He says, Jane Doe versus Shannon Sharpe. On April 20th of 2025, the Tony Busby law firm filed a complaint in Nevada making several allegations against Shannon Sharpe on behalf of our client. Both sides acknowledge a long-term consensual and tumultuous relationship. After protracted and respectful negotiations, I'm pleased to announce that we have reached a mutually agreed upon resolution. All matters have now been addressed satisfactorily, and the matter is closed. The lawsuit will thus be dismissed with prejudice, i.e., some sort of settlement. So how much exactly did Jane Doe end up getting in this settlement? Well, when this lawsuit was originally filed, Lanny Davis, Shannon Sharpe's attorney, revealed that previously his previous attorney had offered this woman $10 million. So please understand, she's at least getting $10 million and more. How much do you speculate she got in this settlement? Please understand, she will also not be talking about this because in any settlement, there's some sort of non-disclosure agreement where both parties cannot talk about this. What do you think happened?
Okay, ladies. Okay. Now, I missed this topic when it came out, and it's my show. So, hey, I want to talk about this from a UMBW perspective. And I could say a lot of things with regards to this, a lot of lessons. The first is that the generational wealth that ended up leaving the Shannon Sharpe family is like crazy to me. People were saying that she got around $30 million, who knows? But she got a lot of money. And not only did she get a lot of money, but he has lost his ESPN job. And, he also is potentially losing his sponsorship with the thing he does was Ocho Cinco. I don't know who these people are, right? Etc. So we could talk about that, right? I want to talk with you ladies about dealing with your demons. Dealing with your demons. And I'm going to talk about this from the point of view of, let's see if I can hack this here, of the 7 deadly sins. Because lust, the first deadly sin, was what got Shannon. And I was listening to this woman commentator, and this is part of the reason why I want to talk about this today. And she was talking about the fact that, Shannon had to pay out this settlement. And she said, for women, and she was really talking about UMBW, she said, for women, our issue is loneliness, and you need a man. And if you don't have a man, you get lonely and, things like that. And as I was listening to her talk about this, I said, your loneliness is not the issue at the end of the day. Your loneliness turns to lust because you have a desire that is not being taken care of, right? So when we are looking at where we are in life right now, as we go from financial instability to financial stability to financial success to ultra success, if you do not handle whatever demon, I'll call it, you have right now, it could cause major problems for you. For me, mine is gluttony. I love sweets. I love food. I do. Right? And right now I'm at a point where I am healthy, but the doctor is like, hey, Cherie, if you don't take care of this gluttony, you're going to end up with diabetes and high blood pressure. For some of us, it's greed. It's the excessive shopping and things like that. And I know this is a hard lesson to take from Shannon Sharpe, but what happened to Shannon Sharpe? Now, I don't think any of my UMBWs will be writing a $30 million check, but if we don't take care of these things when we are financially unstable, then it's going to come back to bite us, right? So some of us is sloth. Some of us is wrath. That anger really gets into us. That's why I always harp on, like, hey, we're not blaming everything on racism, white supremacy, and things like that. Sometimes it's envy and sometimes it's pride. But when I heard about the whole Shannon Sharpe thing, I'm like, if you do not take care of whatever it is, if you don't learn how to get that thing under control, when you get financial stability, when you get means, or if you marry a man who does not have his demons under control, I'll just keep calling them demons. If he doesn't have those things under control, that could mean financial heartache and headache for you as well. The other thing that came out this summer was the mayor of New Orleans. I think it's the mayor of New Orleans, if I remember correctly. UMBW, woman, UMBW. She started having an affair with her bodyguard while she was, doing her mayoral activities. Lust, ladies, a UMBW with lust. And apparently the man was married. And she's about to go to jail because she used city funds to carry on this affair. And that was a podcast I was listening to, and they were talking about loneliness. And I'm like, no, it wasn't loneliness at the end of the day, because we can be lonely and not be have an issue with maybe having to go to prison. But this mayor of New Orleans may be going to prison. Let me see if I can find that story. Mayor of New Orleans, affair going to prison. Let me put it into Google here. She's been indicted. So I know that she hasn't gone to prison yet, but she's been indicted. New Orleans Mayor LaToya Cantrell has not gone to prison, which I did know that, but she has been federally indicted in August 2025 on 11 counts, including wire fraud, obstruction of justice, and lying to a grand jury, stemming from an alleged affair with her former bodyguard, Jeffrey Vapey, and the misuse of taxpayer funds to conceal it. She hasn't gone yet, ladies, but... And that was because of lust, because she was lonely for so long, blah, 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 blah. And I'm not saying it's a real thing. I'm saying that you need to identify whatever your shortcomings are and make sure you have those handled, because if you don't get those handled before you get into a position of financial strength, it could be your downfall. It could be your downfall. So, well, I wanted to know if somebody wanted to come up and talk with me this evening. Let me see here. I'm putting the StreamYard in a couple more times for you ladies. If anybody wants to come up, if not, I'm going to read the final comments and we're going to get out of here. Mentor Shelley said, what did Uncle Shannon do now? That was some old tea, but I wanted to go and talk about it. So Adrian is saying my mind wandered when he was talking, but I'm sure there's a lesson. Yes. Unfortunately, Shannon made decisions that's now hurting him and his reputation long term. Yep. It's very much hurting him. This is such an important conversation. Yep, which is the reason why I wanted to have it. So it's one of the things I had been on my mind since that whole Shannon Sharpe thing imploded, exploded, whatever it is. And I was like, well, I just want to talk with you ladies today about it. We have to deal with, work out our issues, or it will handle us. It's the truth. It's the truth. So, Mr. Shelley, give me a couple of minutes. Let me finish reading these comments and then I will let you talk. Dark and Lovely is saying allegedly he threw a couple of dollars to his daughter for her wedding. I heard about this and refused to help his children purchase their homes. Yet he offered the plaintiff a whole retirement to be quiet. Yep. This is unfortunate. His legacy would have been more solidified if he had put that money in a trust in a certain way, or if he were playing the game differently. Let's just say it like that. I don't know if a trust would have helped him, but he could have not only spent the money on his daughter's wedding, which I can understand if somebody says, hey, I don't want to spend too much money on your wedding because, it's a wedding, right? But you're absolutely right. He could have bought them homes for themselves. He could have bought them multifamily properties for them to live on. He could have had generational legacy. And he may still have money. I don't know. I don't know the guy's pockets, but it's so important. And Adrian saying, I bet this mayor tried to call racism as well. I'm sure she did, but it wasn't. It wasn't. So, Mentor Shelley, how are you?
I am doing well. How are you guys doing this evening?
Doing well. Thank you. Thanks for coming up. What you got to say about tonight's topics?
Oh, so much. Let's deal with the most obvious and the messiest, of course. Mr. Sharpe, in his professional life, has not been as problematic as he is in his personal life, which kind of spilled over. And Shannon Sharpe has children that are older than 19 years old. I don't personally, this is my opinion. I reserve the right to share my opinion. I don't think he has any business being with a 19-year-old, but that's my opinion. So, it shows there's some issues there. And I think, understanding his background, he's Southern Georgia country boy from the South, and played football, made it out, and really made a name for himself through athletics. That doesn't mean that because you made it through athletics that you've dealt with deep-seated issues that that still carry into your decisions present day. And I think that's exactly what we're seeing right now. Some of those things that, you may not see or he may not show on the internet ended up finding its way on the internet. Did we not hear, was it last year or a year before, where the tape got slipped with him and some person?
People said he slipped his own tape, but okay.
However, like, you're supposed to be this really, accomplished football star. There's a lot of ex-NFL players that don't have their tapes leak out on the internet. There's a lot of them that move on to respectable careers. I'll use DeVal Ellis as one of them. He's transitioned quite successfully with a lot of hard work into acting, doing well for himself. There's a lot of other ones that are doing podcasts that are actually worth listening to, because there are some podcasts that they just need to burn the mics. But that's aside the point. There's, with just that whole issue, there's something within him that he needs to deal with. And if he doesn't deal with it, it's going to be another issue in a couple of years. So that's a Shannon Sharpe situation. The McDonald's situation, I think a lot of people, like myself, I used to be at McDonald's a whole lot more often. I'm not there as much anymore because I'm probably going to be more in a Panera Bread line than I am at McDonald's, because it's better quality.
For the same price.
And, and people... Fitness said clearly the 19-year-old thought he had no business dating her either. Oh, that's funny. Oh Lord. As far as breakfast is concerned, some people trying to get out the house. It's not, and some people are really just not eating breakfast because they don't have the time. That's between dropping off kids and doing the most, and And you have some people that are still working from home, so they're not leaving their house per se, then they'll make their own breakfast. So there's a variety of things kind of hitting McDonald's, in their bottom line there, so to speak, that might be contributing to some of those factors. And of course, there's people that used to have disposable income. Based on what's going on right now, that disposable income has dried up. Some of them are laid off, or they're going to be laid off, and they're trying to prepare. So,
and I'm thinking about it. I thought I heard that Starbucks is having the same slowing sales issues as well. I know that Panera was having some issues, but people have been saying it's because of the quality, and I agree. The quality of Panera has gone down significantly. But I do think that there's a section of the economy that can't afford it. There's a section of the economy that's getting healthier, and there's a section of the economy that has moved from one restaurant to another, for whatever reasons. So,
yeah. Well, in my case, when I first started working at the job that I'm at now, I was going to Starbucks every day. I have now transitioned to bringing breakfast or getting a partial breakfast elsewhere and drinking coffee at work for free. So, it just depends on, everybody's transition is different. As far as the first topic, which is really, is more of a, not necessarily concern. It's a concern. Let's be clear. The 300K, Black women that are not in the workforce anymore, a good amount of us, including a lot of us on this live tonight, may or may not be, or still we're in the workforce, but we're also working on our side hustles, like myself, like Cherie, like a lot of us are picking up additional skills, which is beautiful. But there's also others that have not necessarily picked up skills and are kind of feeling a little stuck. And I think sometimes we have to reassure, or, if we know someone that fits this category, or if you know someone, period, that may either be experiencing a layoff or is getting ready to go through a layoff, and they have some kind of warning, then start preparing. I have materials on my channel that you can look at for free. I do have an offer in regards to layoffs, but Cherie, I didn't necessarily go over this with you before, but I can put the link. I do have an overcoming layoff course out there for those folks that are either getting ready to go through it or is going through it right now. There's some right now things that you need to do to at least get through the roughest part of it. And there's some things down the line within a 30, 60, 90-day period that you can truly, get prepared and gear up for the next opportunity the right way, the most strategic way. And especially in this particular economy, you can't just do the manila folder at the interview. You have to go gangbusters with what you need to have and make sure you're coming out, or you're presenting yourself as the best candidate. When everybody's coming with manila folders, you have your professional profile and you have your you have all of your show and tell pieces when you're going to interviews. You're not going there just with a bare old manila folder. That's for amateurs. So I do have an mentorshelley.com/layoff that is available now for you. If you have other questions, you can always either go to my website at mentorshelley.com/contact, and you can ask general questions about your career. But if you definitely are serious about either getting ready to, or you're experiencing layoff right now, I do have that offer available. But for all the women like us, or even maybe they don't consider themselves upwardly mobile, I don't see why not. But if they don't consider themselves upwardly mobile, they're just women just trying to make it. I want us to be the encouragers of those women. If you know people that are going through things, and if you have a resource, I have free resources as well as paid resources. Help them along, encourage them maybe to pick up a PM certification. They could, go and check out at their local community college Maybe you could pick up some skills if you like working with your hands. You never know. They have free programs that they have, you can pay, you can get paid for, or it'll be free program where you can go through within a year, 6 months, 3 months, depending on what kind of certification. That certification can turn into more money. So, I understand that things can happen, but we also don't want to just be reactive, but be proactive. If you know it's happening, start putting your feelers out there, increase your networking, online and offline. And I'm taking my own advice because I have to do more of that too. I started networking, but I have to do more. Just like how I want you guys to do that, I have to practice what I preach myself. So I just want to make sure that with all the topics we discussed, we also want to extract the lesson and how we can apply what we've learned and discussed tonight.
Yeah.
That's what I have to contribute. Go ahead, Sheree.
Yeah, Fitness said, I used to go to Starbucks all the time, but once I invested in a proper espresso machine, I rarely buy coffee anywhere. The lattes are just as good and the machine costs less than $100. I understand that as well. I used to go to Dunkin' Donuts every morning when I first moved to our house. And then I ended up getting a Keurig, got 2 in like a year and a little bit over a year. 2 of them broke on me. And now I have like my favorite coffee mechanism. And yes, girl, like I get my coffee from home, HOME. So yeah, I mean, people are like shifting. They're making different choices. So I thank you so much, Plenty of Chocolate, saying happy birthday. Thank you so much. Yeah, when it comes to well, all of us should always be considering, I think, as UNBWs, like your next 2 to 5 years. What's my next 2 to 5 years? What's the next level? Because if you're not moving forward, you're being left behind. But if you are at threat of a layoff right now, and more layoffs may be coming as well, because the US has been, I think, cooking the books for a little bit. We'll see if the new labor statistics person actually continues to cook the books, or if he straightens it out. If we find out what's really happening, you may say, "Well, Trump is the kind of guy who will get this person to cook the books." The one major problem that Trump has with that is that Wall Street and these foreign investors make their business financing decisions based on the numbers that are coming out. And I believe, this is just Sheree, I believe that Trump understands that he can only mess with the people with the money so much, which is the other reason why Jerome Powell, as much as Trump wants to get rid of Jerome Powell, Jerome Powell is still in his office as Fed chair. And the reason for that is because the bankers in the suits and Donald Trump is not the most powerful person in the United States. I don't care what anybody says. I don't care if it's Obama, if it's Joe Biden, if it's Trump. The president of the United States is not the most powerful person in the United States. It's some guy you don't even know, or a group of people you don't even know, right? Trump, I think, knows what he can get away with and what he can't get away with. And messing with the financial system too much is going to be a big no-no, right? But the economy is starting to get sluggish. And I do think that the people with the money are okay with that, because there are people on payroll they can get rid of. There's real estate they can get rid of. There's real estate they can purchase, because 300,000 Black women, most of those Black women probably own homes, because we're talking about middle-class Black women, right? All of a sudden they start going into foreclosure, and who's there to purchase those properties, right? So the powers that be, and this is conspiracy theory, take it or leave it, the powers that be are okay with a recession. right now, because the fact that it hits 10% of Black women with regards to unemployment does not affect them. Not because it does not affect them with regards to their pockets, which is the truth, but because they understand that every 8 to 12 years, you need a recession. That doesn't mean you can't win during a recessionary period. It just means your strategy for winning has to be different. And those are some of the things that we'll talk about over the next couple of months.
Is it okay if I add something? Remember, the Federal Reserve, guys, it's not they're a private entity. People forget that.
Mm-hmm.
And that's also part of, and they have a lot more power than they reveal. If people only read, if you read enough, there's a particular book. It's quite thick. Oh, geez. You remember I'm trying to remember the name of the title of the book right now. It pretty much explains how the Federal Reserve came to be, The Creatures from Jekyll Island.
Oh, I've heard of that. Yes.
Yeah.
I haven't read it, but I did hear about it.
Oh, I have it. And let's just say, yeah, you're absolutely correct. Trump knows who to mess with. That's not the set of people you want to fool with.
Absolutely not. They will get rid of him so fast.
It'll make your head spin.
Yes.
So.
Yes. So, and we all know that.
Yeah, exactly.
And just leave it to Dom and Dave to really talk about it. Dom and Dave can really like talk about it and break things down in a way that I can't, but
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, but no. So and then I do think that there are people in, we'll call it the deep state, the other side, the physical militarization side of the world, who are more powerful as well. So but the bankers are all the people with the money, the bankers, they're always the most powerful. And it's not the people you see, it's the people you don't. So but yeah, that is our show for the evening. So, we're going to talk, like I said, over the next couple of months about how to survive this economy. We're going to gossip. I've got some other conspiracy theory things I'm going to come talk to you about. We're going to have a whole show on the birth rate, because we're going to get into the mess of the birth rate, but also as UMBWs, some of the things that I think you want to pay attention to with regards to this birth rate thing. And we will show the pregnant robot as well. So
definitely I will come back for the birth rate topic, because
yes. So because the truth is, especially for women, deciding to have children, whether you're going to have children or not, that changes the course of your life. Absolutely.
It does.
Absolutely. And I don't think there's a right or a wrong answer. I think it's the best answer for you. But I also know that there are certain forces at play that if people feel like the numbers are getting too low, they're going to start doing more drastic things in order to increase the number. Right now, they're just playing with your heads with the whole trad wife thing.
Oh, okay.
No, that's true. And I'll have some other notes written down as well with regards to conspiracy theories and what I'm thinking. But yeah, we'll see what happens. We'll see what, and the other thing is that the powers that be, they play a 25 to 50 year game. So they are thinking, how can we affect the next two generations with whatever thought processes we want to have? So follow the money as well. And there's a lot of money if you follow politics, if you follow politics, there were discussions for years about the amount of money that the Republicans online were getting. This past week, or maybe 2 weeks ago, there was a huge story about the online Democrats and the amount of dark money that the online Democrats are getting as well. We'll have a whole conversation about birth rate and all sorts of stuff.
Okay.
Because these topics will directly impact your wealth. They will. And it's not just about having a baby or not having a baby. It's like looking at all of society and figuring out how you're going to maneuver.
Right.
So, yeah. So Adrian is saying, oh, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. I'm glad you, oh, I'm sorry. You're saying, welcome back to me. I missed our conversations. Thank you, Adrian. Thank you. I'm sorry I misread that. I don't have my glasses on right now, so let me put these back on. Adrian saying, I have married friends who feel like single mothers. They have one or two and no more. They wish that they had more conversations or no children. I see and hear a lot of people saying that as well.
Mm-hmm.
I was listening yesterday to Tim Pool, if you're familiar with the conservative Tim Pool, and I'll pull it up when we do our birth rate conversation, but he's like, he found this article. He's like a peacock. He's all excited, right? And he's reading the article from the Atlantic. The title of the article was like, women with children are happier than women without children. So he's reading this article and it said, Mr. Shelley, it said 19%, 19% of women who have children are very happy, and 11% of women without children are very happy. Mentor Shelley, I could stop the video right there. I was like, this guy is gloating because 19%. So usually they don't read the article, right? On
Mm-hmm.
when they're listening to the podcast, usually they just talk. They're like,
Right.
oh, look at this headline. Well, he started reading the article. I'm like, did you read that article before you came online and started reading this article to everybody else? Because if anybody told me I had a 19% chance of being very happy about something, I don't know if I'd be gloating about it. Those are ridiculous numbers.
Well, you also have to consider the source. I don't know. Some of these articles where they pull their information from, it is magic and wonder and mystery. Mm-hmm. Because a lot of them are not in they have nowhere in factual information.
I know.
19% of women that don't have children are happy about it.
No, they do have children. 19% of women who do have children are very happy. That's abysmal. That means 81% of women who have children are not very happy. Now, I wanted to hear the rest of the article. I'm going to try to see if I can find it. It's from the Atlantic. Like, did they divide it into somewhat happy, not happy? Like, I need to see the rest of the article.
Yeah.
But not you all like you, but there are certain factions of online that are really trying to sell women on motherhood. I mean, they are hardcore for it.
Cherie, so much so that if a woman says she's happy and child-free, they're attacking her in the comments.
I know. But the biggest thing is, you're a 20-year-old woman, and the worst thing that you can be is in college and pursuing a career. Instead, you need to pursue an MRS degree. It's just amazing. And again, I'm not against anybody who wants that. I think if you want that, that's great. But you have to tell people I'm not going to say you have to tell people. I'm going to take a step back and I'm going to say it's unfair for young women to be told half the story.
Yeah.
And to set them up for failure.
Yeah,
go ahead.
Here's where I think a lot of this noise, because it's really not factual things going on here. Mm-hmm. Here's where a lot of the noise is curtailed around. Patriarchy is men that ascribe to patriarchy feel like their system is in crisis of breaking down, mm-hmm. because the women have unilaterally on a large scale have decided either I'm not going to have any children, or pretty much I'm not even gonna date you, mm-hmm. much less have a relationship with you, mm-hmm. as men, because a lot of you choose to be problematic and I don't want to deal with that. I'm gonna say, as a I don't reveal much about my personal life, but I choose to be one of those people. I made a choice a couple years ago and I'm very happy with my choice. Mm-hmm. So if respect, emotional intelligence and mental maturity is not a part of your psyche, or you're not communicating like a mature adult in that fashion, and you're an XY, and if you don't have those qualities, I'm not even looking in your direction. And that is going to rule out a lot of nonsense. Mm-hmm. So a lot of women are now making conscious decisions not to even interact. The fact that then there's women that are online saying, I'm single. Maya was one of them. She had an interview on a mm-hmm. podcast a few weeks ago, and there was a clip going on, going viral. And when I tell you, the crash out in the comments is real. Yeah. Like, why is it that you're so obsessed with a woman making a conscious decision to have autonomy? I think the patriarchy is very fearful of women that exercise their autonomy over their own lives, and it does not include men. Yeah. And that's part of what feeds it. And we're talking now. We're talking openly. Mothers are talking openly, because I'm not gonna say I'm part of the Gen X generation that there was an expectation that, yes, when you graduate from high school, you go to college, you get a degree. Then once you get a degree and you establish yourself on your own, then you start dating, so you can date and settle down with a nice young man, and you can have a family, and you can work, and or you may spend a few years at home to take care of your children. The end.
Yep. That was I never got that from my family or my parents, but that definitely was a society thing when I was growing up as well.
In Caribbean cultures, that was definitely sold to you, but education was also something that was, it literally drilled into me. If I didn't want to be educated, I didn't have a choice. Mm-hmm. So, it's and maybe the relationship piece of it didn't necessarily work out the best in some cases, but I think there is a definite disconnect and a definite dysfunction, mm-hmm. where people that choose to not engage, or choose to go with the 4B movement, or not go with the 4B movement, or take a break from dating, or don't want to be with nobody, or they choose to engage in dating, and then if they choose to be open to it, if they see a sign of red flags, they're pulling back. You have men on the internet now saying, why are women so strict all of a sudden? They make one mistake and women are quick to cut off, because we are tired of the foolishness. Mm-hmm. And we're not going to stand for the foolishness. So the standard has been raised. And unfortunately, in some cases, there are young men or older men that are not really adjusting to that very well, because they were able to get away with murder for so long. So part of what's contributing to the lower birth rate is some women are just like, I'm stepping out. It also health-wise, The birth rate could be lower, possibly because of increasing health issues based on the food we eat and the environmental toxins we're exposed to. It's not a one facet conversation.
I agree.
You know,
I agree. There's a lot.
There's a lot of things that feed into that, but because this is the only tangible thing they can attack, or they can speak to, or they can point to, or they can project on, that's usually where you see a lot of the unfortunate online crash outs happening under people's comments that are just expressing what it is that they're choosing to do.
Right. I will tell you the number one reason why I think the birth rate is lower, and then I really am going to go because got to get ready for bed. I think the number one reason that the birth rate is lower is because so many younger women saw what their mothers and grandmothers went through and thought, I don't want that for my life.
Preach.
If I'm going to choose to settle down with somebody, there are things that I'm not going to accept that my grandmother or my mother accepted. I also I'm going to say no for a fact, even though I don't know what percentage of women did this. There were percentages of mothers and grandmothers telling their daughters, don't financially depend on a man, don't 100% depend on a man. I know it didn't just happen in my house. I know that there were a lot of conversations about that. And whenever I have which is rarely that I have a conversation with a man about it. But whenever I do, I always say those conversations didn't come out of thin air.
No, they didn't.
You know, when your grandmother was raised in the 30s and your mother was raised in the 60s, and you are a child in the 80s and your mother and grandmother look at you and say, don't do it. That message did not come out of thin air.
Nope. Came out of lived experience.
It came out of lived experience. So, and then we saw it and we also felt it. And we're like, no, that's okay. Unless, so we will have the full discussion about the birth rate, but
we will.
Unless you were dealing with a girl who grew up in a hyper-religious environment, or, you know, for whatever reason, she had a true desire for love. And I'm not saying that the person gave her love. I'm saying that she had this true, just such a desire for love, that she ended up getting pregnant, let's say before the age of 25, right?
Right.
But yeah, I mean, I think that this is a fascinating discussion, and some of it'll be political and some of it'll be social media, because I intend to bring up some issues with social media, some things that I'm seeing that I just want my UMBWs to be aware of on both sides of the conversation. And then the number one reason that I think young women are not having children, I don't think it's economics. I think it's something else. I'm going to share that with you as well. You all have to come back on another day for me to tell you all of that good stuff. But yeah, we can have a lively discussion about it as well. I'll do it on a day and time. I might do it on a Sunday evening when I, have a little bit more time and a little bit more rested. But I think this is a good conversation for us to have. So, all right, ladies. Well, I see all of your comments here, but we're not going to go through them because it is my bedtime. So thank you, Mentor Shelley, for being here.
Of course.
And thank you, ladies, for welcoming me back. And we will be back to our Money Mondays. All right, ladies, take care.
You too. Thank you, Cherie.